So, please describe why you're running and your qualifications for being a school board trustee. Specifically, can you also share a bit more about your professional and educational background so that we can get better acquainted?
Professionally, currently I started working in an agency called Building Block for Kids Collaborative. And the decision that made me come up to that job was based on, as a parent, I wasn't getting, I guess, fully across of the need for the students in my children's school at the time. So I decided maybe I can bump it up a little bit more working for an agency that at the time I had taken training as a parent, and I saw that the community need they were providing outside of the other schools, it quite hasn't been easy just because we haven't been allowed in different school sites. But just based on the fact that this year we had a fresh new principal, and right from the get-go I introduced myself as who I was, a parent, willing there to support her and extend the help. I didn't start any fussing about the previous administration that we had, and this year I can honestly say the school site council ran quite amazingly with the parent involvement with the teachers. We had a hard time having the teachers even try to run for positions just because of the previous principal had, I guess, the teacher stressed out is this is what the budget's going to be used for and this is how we're going to do it, instead of how this principal ran across where openly discussed pre-meetings saying, you know, this is the funding we have, how do you guys believe we can input and use it across with parent involvement and teacher involvement. And across with my background as a parent leader at Building Block for Kids, we've been able to provide trainings in different areas of education for parents, for English language learners, for low income, in regards to the LCAP, attendance rates and all that. And most parents aren't really fully aware just because the trainings, the school doesn't really, I guess, give it as a parent level. It uses the terminology they have, their lingo, but not at the level that we can understand as parents.
And I have the next question too. You mentioned one of your top priorities is to start providing all the support our children need. What is the role of the school board in accomplishing that, and what specific steps would you take?
In my experience, I haven't seen too much of the school boards have like hands-on activity in regards to trying to get our test scores up, especially in the flatlands. Most of our central Richmond schools, and that affects where my children attend. I didn't know until recently when a parent invited me to come to an ELAC meeting at Nystrom. I just went as a parent because she knew me, I was the MDAC coach here. So she just can you come by and give me some few pointers as to how we're running the meetings? I said, sure. So I showed up and I saw the PowerPoint the principal presented saying how our students are 2 levels behind, 2 grade levels behind. It shocked me just because I knew that my daughter was at her reading level and I had just gotten compliments from the principal. So when we went back to our school site council, I was like, Miss Everett, do you know what our reading levels are here? And she mentioned the same thing. So it was shocking to realize that we are failing our students. The district can be providing more resources if we find the ways to how to help out. We're paying $1,000 per student for tutoring, and these agencies aren't providing the real resources.
Yeah.
They're coming here giving the students a laptop where I could put my child 30 minutes and try to play a game. You're providing other agencies that come and supposedly are there at the school with 10 students, and the students are playing in the playground. So I don't feel that the money that we're using for $1,000 per student should be going to these, I guess, resources, if you want to call them. I think district-wide, we have teachers that are more than willing to get paid to provide extra services. We have other staff that are more than willing to provide tutoring services, or different agencies that do provide tutoring services that have shown, you know, the successes, how you're benefiting the students. But currently our district has been failing as to how do you keep accountable to really provide services that will bump it up.
You mentioned another of your priorities is around bullying and discipline. There's a tension between wanting safe schools and wanting to avoid over suspensions that tend to disproportionately affect students of color. What do you think about the principal's role in addressing this issue versus the board and/or the superintendent? And then how would you navigate this as a board member?
I understand the issue of, you know, wanting to keep the suspension rate down, but that's like, as I put it, as a mom, if I let my child continue to behave badly, she's getting the message that it's okay for her to continue doing whatever she's doing. We need to find disciplinary measure that can, you know, let the child know you're not doing well and you're affecting these students for so and so reason. there's so many factors that go into the student's life as to why they're behaving the way they're behaving. So we have to come and understand as to why they're doing it. Not just suspend them, not just say, hey, go in-house, but really get down to the root. I had a case right now with our job where a parent came in and her son was being threatened. They had to make a police report, but the students are they're still on the campus. Thank God that, the guy, we provided resources for how to navigate the system. The parent was able to get the school she wanted, so the son won't be going to that school next year. But I don't find that that's the best way to do it. That shouldn't be the solution. Move your student out somewhere else, and the students that are making the discipline harder on all the other environment of the school are going to continue to do what they're doing. So we need to find the resources as to how. I know there's the restorative justice, but from what I've heard at the LCAP meetings, they're not fully being implemented. And people aren't really getting trained to really come across and how to discipline the students that they need. And teachers don't understand the trauma that these students go across at home.
Okay. You are clearly passionate about the topic of parent voice and good communication. As a board member, what are some ways that you would increase the meaningful participation of parents and have a more inclusive dialogue?
I think the biggest struggle has been, at least in the area that I'm more active, it's been the language barriers. Parents don't feel comfortable to speak up just because if they do, translation isn't to the way that they say it exactly. It's translated to difference of meaning. So what you say in Spanish isn't necessarily the way you translate it into English. So the district or staff aren't really understanding what the needs are. We have district personnel that doesn't really attend to us. It's like, unless you know how to navigate the system, you can come across to doing. Or unless you've come to form, I guess, relationships with certain people, you can learn to navigate the system. I've seen the struggle with parents demanding, they want this, they want that. And like I told the parent, it's taken me, my daughter's going into 6, so about 7 years to really form relationships with people. So when I need something, I can openly go up to doors and ask, and I can be helped. But when we have parents demanding and not really trying to form a relationship, it's really going to be difficult for somebody to want to extend the help to you. And we have to understand principals are in charge of whether it be from 300 students to 700 students or even beyond. And we sometimes as parents are considerate of the time that they're, what they have to do in charge of teachers, in charge of the parents, the students. So we really have to come and meet across and explain to the parents, we really do want to help, but it's give us a chance to really understand you, and then you understand us as well. So it's how do we come across to get them united together to work together. Parents shouldn't be seen as a nuisance. We should be seen as, getting that brick and building it one after the other one to get our child to succeed. If we don't do that, it's going to be really difficult. And I see the struggle with many parents right now that they're not getting across. They want to do the school site council. They want to do the ELAC. But because they've been so demanding, their doors have really been shut.
You stated that you would not have voted to authorize the $1 million forensic audit because that money could have been spent on other priorities. Those who supported the audit said that it's less than 1/10 of 1% of our total bond program, and that the community can't move forward until trust is rebuilt and we can fix things going forward. What would you say to those people?
Money-wise, I understand it's probably insignificant in a way, but I don't believe trust is going to be built based on that. The district has failed us in so many different ways that you might say this is one area that you want to build trust, but when we had a superintendent also leave right before the full audit has been accomplished, you're kind of I'm still not even trustworthy of the old district just based on that. There's so many factors that have led me to really not trust the district, and it's not based on the money-wise of what they spend. It's really transparency across the table as to what the district is really doing behind closed doors.
You explained that your vetting process for a public charter school petition would be to look at whether or not it will benefit the education of our children. Imagine that you are a board member and a petition is submitted. Can you please share more about how you would evaluate your petition?
I decided to run. I didn't think it'd become very political in that sense, but I've heard a lot already. And that's the struggle. I just decided to run really just to benefit the students, to try as a parent make that difference. I honestly can't decide on how I would vet. I'm still learning that process. But one of my biggest, I guess, goals in that sense of the area would be, how are you going to provide the success of the student achievement? Closing the gap with making sure our students move forward, but don't hold back the students who are at their level. We have students leaving the district, not because, you know what, that charter's probably better, it's just because they haven't found the help that they needed. I have plenty of parents from my church, from our schools, from anywhere I go to that have children in different charter schools. So I kind of be a hypocrite if I tell you, hey, no, I don't support you. When I'm the one picking up their children there and asking if they need help with their homework, I'm the one there to translate. And it's like I told her, plenty of my parents, friends there, it's like whatever help you need, let me know, because we're here trying to get these children to really succeed, learn to read, learn to write. Whether that school is there to provide that support for the student as well as for the parents to help them learn how to push your child forward, then I'm all for it. I can't decide on if you're taking our students away or not. It's just what's the benefit for the students.
Direct educational experience, how do you intend to build strong relationships with our educators? What would you do to ensure you learn more about the day-to-day experience of educators, and how would this inform your work of overseeing a district with nearly 30,000 students?
Currently being active at my children's school, I love the confidence that the teachers can come up to me. I had this, I think she was 4th grade last year, she was 5th previously, came up to me, and just because she knew I was a member at the LCAP, she said, Stephanie, can I ask you for a favor? I was like, sure, why not? I don't know how much power you may have as an LCAP member, but we cannot go through these combo classes. She goes, I'm a mom, I have to go back home. I can't stay at home and do a curriculum for a 5th grade class as well as for a 6th grade class. I don't even believe a single teacher that, you know, has no family can go back home and do that. So having the confidence that I've had so far with all the teachers at my children's school, I can honestly say I've built trust with many. Being at the MDAC, I have teachers from Washington. I built relationships already, and I know I can openly discuss whatever item that it is. It's just how to move forward with more teachers across the table. But I can honestly say I don't think I've had an argument with any teacher so far. My child behaves bad, I will take control. And that's what I like. When my daughter started 5th grade this year, and the teacher found out I was her mother like a week later, she just went, oh, yes! I was like, okay. But when I told that to our community work, she goes, it's because they know you're active. But I didn't know that would feel like a plus to a teacher. So then I was like, hey, we were happily able to work together before she left on maternity leave. But it's providing those resources. When she needed translation for conferences, I was there to help. So it's just knowing that I'm there to help you, and I if anything you need, I'm helping. If you need anything, I can help there too.
You talked a little bit about this already, but when we look at the current makeup of the school board, there are no trustees who are parents of kids currently attending our schools. Do you think it's important to have this voice in the board? And if so, how do you reassure the community that you would look out for the interests of all children, not just your own children in their schools?
I've tried as much as I could making an impact, whether it be the school site, the LCAP, what used to be was the district advisory committee. I guess there's so many committees I've tried to get my hands on to make a difference, and I haven't actually succeeded as much as I wanted to. I feel like it does make a difference. It builds trust. I know your struggles, you know my struggles. It hasn't been an easy success. In regards to me understanding the needs of other students, it's been something I've been currently on as an LCAP. I don't come in to see the needs of my daughter, my son, my other daughter. I'm there representing the vast majority of the English learners as a committee member representing the MDAC. So I've made it clear to plenty of parents when we go to meetings, don't just think about your son. Because when they say, oh, I want this for my son, I was like, you're never gonna get anything. You have to learn to compromise. What's the benefit of you getting one thing for one son when you can do across the school for 500 kids? So it's the need as to how do I overlook the need of just one goal that I may wanna have for my daughter when it could benefit so many other students. It's probably not how do I find it, it's just over the course of my actively involvement, I've been familiar with more of the families. I've become friends with most of the families, so now I don't just see the need of my daughter, I see the needs of their daughters, of their sons. So that's what's gotten me more to push forward is to, how do I benefit all the students across?
So this is our last question before we do follow-up questions. What do you think it would take to make our district one of the best in the state?
build partnerships, but with families, the school, make it, I guess, what they call the neighborhood school. Where I grew up, I was more than happy to walk to school. There was different activities as a student that I wanted to be involved in and make sure that my mom attended to see me. And that currently, at least at my children's school, we don't see none of that. We don't see any activities where students can participate and have them come and showcase their work to parents. So parents just drop them off and assume, this is like another babysitting area. If you're failing your kid, I've had plenty of parents say, you know what, my kids, they're being held back. When I believe, from K to 5th, it's like an essential time where as a parent, you can help out as much as you could. Once they get to middle school, it might get a little difficult as a parent to participate, but it's how do we provide the resources for the families to be involved, the teachers to feel help, the principal to feel help. How do we build partnership across with families, with the school, with the staff, with the person that opens the door and receives you at the school with that smile and says, welcome, how do you feel? It's not just, I can't help you right now, or they totally ignore you. It's how do we build that so that we can come in unity and find out what are the different resources, what can you provide to help us reach our goals, academic-wise, climate-wise.
So now we'll go to the second portion of the interview, the follow-up questions. We have about 20 minutes, so time for some additional questions.
Stephanie, you referenced a little bit kind of the political issue around kind of charter specifically. My question is more broadly around how you would go about approaching the idea of a campaign and the campaigning for this position, and what would that look like? What are your challenges around that? And then secondarily, kind of when you'd be in this position of being on the other side of the table, right, for the first time, how do you think that you'd be able to fully execute and be an advocate within that new role?
Currently, the whole campaign process has been a struggle. I decided to run, and I'm more than firm on that standing that I will continue. As much as I said with the whole political scheme, I do want to stay away from all that because I am coming as a parent wanting to run, as a parent voice. I'm not here to say I'm a big shot or I know this, I know that. I've only known the struggles I went through. I've only known the struggles my friends' parents have gone through. Everything I see outside of the school standing, in my perspective, that's why I want to come here and make a difference. Campaign-wise, it has been a struggle because I have families that are willing to help, and it's how do you get started? I'm new to all this. I'm learning. I'm Googling. I'm trying to find as much research as I can. My principal set up the website already, which I'm trying to edit. She left on vacation, so I haven't bothered her. But she has it. She wants my slogan. She wants my pictures. But it's just letting the people know that I've decided to run. I've been extended hands to help. It's just they're on vacation right now. So I'm like, can you come back soon? Just so I can start building a network of people that can come and support me. I've had other resources where I have to make connections with different parents to, I'm tired of seeing the segregation in this district. So I've discussed with a lot of parents that are African Americans that I've come to know in these committees that have participated. So they're more than willing. A couple of them wanted to run, but they're like, no, it's too political, I'll help you. So it's like, now we gotta sit together and really discuss what are we gonna move forward, and how do I continue to provide the support that I wanna promise that I will succeed in. I don't wanna just get on the table and forget everything. I really wanna move forward with being hands-on. At least like I told my husband, I was like, I'll disappear. I already disappeared, but this time I'll disappear more. So he's all for it. I was like, you stay with the 4 kids? I've already had my plenty of time.
Stephanie.
This is kind of circling back around to restorative justice, and you mentioned that a lot of people have felt that restorative justice isn't being implemented, maybe like how they thought it was going to be implemented, and just around how are we disciplining young people in schools? What are your thoughts or ideas on how we can change that?
Currently, a co-worker of mine went to, I guess, a trauma class or something. I don't know who hosted it, but she was excited to see one of our Chavez teachers there. And she can tell that that day the teacher left very different. And it's something I guess the district hasn't hosted. It's, workshops on really trauma of what's going on behind the doors of the schools. So teachers aren't really aware of what's going behind, and it's not just simply, let's do restorative justice the way it's taught. It's really, how do you understand the needs of the family? How do you understand the need of the child? Some of these teachers come here into our community, and they're not from here. You know, they drive how many minutes away from their homes to come here. So they don't really understand our issues that we go through. And it's really, how do we come across and sit down as parents? We have so many PDs for teachers, but I don't think we have one implemented where parents can come together with teachers and really discuss, you know, what are the struggles both ways, and how can we come together and really move forward with that so that the needs of the students can be a success in that sense of the area. So it's how do we make a difference into providing, you know, recognition to the teachers that are making that success. And same with parents. How are you? There's parents that are actively involved in trying to help out, but we don't come together and really understand the needs. We're always arguing that no, the parents don't do this, and same as parents say the teachers aren't providing this. But it's sometimes we are, but we just don't come across and sit down and talk about it and move forward on how we can implement different ideas.
I feel like in both of your responses today and in your questionnaire, I've heard a lot about elementary schools, and since I think you've had a lot of experience working with elementary schools. Do you have any sort of formed opinions or ideas of what are the needs of our secondary schools in particular versus elementary?
I'm currently learning on that as well, just because when I stop and think, my daughter will next year enter 7th grade soon. And I think back as to the needs I had, or at least, I dropped out of high school, and just because of the simple fact that most of the teachers have to stay back behind and make sure all the students understand the grade material, right? So it's like, I felt like I was too advanced for it, and I didn't want to succeed. I didn't have the support I needed. And if we look at it, parent participation drops dramatically right when you hit middle school. And it's how do we make that important, you know, make that vision of, you know, you want to succeed to either university, you want to go to college, to a parent if they don't really start learning right from the get-go. I barely started learning what credits, the A through G credit, just based on the parent university, what you needed to get to your child to get to university, how to graduate high school with all the credits that they need. And that's what my goal is, how do we educate more of the parents in need? Because we have to start now. We can't start right when you get in 9th grade. And that's what I assumed as a high school student, that I'll work it out. And I'm realizing more and more now that no, you really have to start soon. My daughter says she wants to become a marine biologist. So I'm like, okay, what schools nearby have that? I was like, I'm not sending you far away. But I'm like, what do we need to get you there? What schools or what classes do you need to take? You know, what services will the school provide to you? What extra community hours will you need? I was held back just because my parents were tight and didn't let me go out and do anything. So I couldn't go and do research at the library. So these are things where I'm opening my eyes at. We need to provide resources to parents. We need to educate the parents the success that, you know, your child could succeed if we provide these resources to you. Not just do the Richmond Promise, not just do these community workshops, but really start from elementary. I'm glad the Parent University has, you know, thrown some ideas out there, but parents aren't really educated in that sense. Our teachers that are the district, the teachers that they're using, the adult eds, aren't really knowledgeable of plenty of things. I got in trouble because I helped facilitate with my community worker, and I would extend, I guess, extra time for questions, and the adult ed didn't like it. So we need to provide resources to the parents, educate the parents, and have staff that are willing to take their time and really educate the parents to let them know, you know what, how do we help you to support your child move more beyond than what you just want a high school diploma.
What do you think you would need to learn to better serve as a school board member, and how would you go about doing that?
I had plenty of people already hit me with that. They said I need to learn the ed code, which I'm currently making my index card. I need to learn. I've been learning the Robert's rules, how you do that with the LCAP committee and the MDAC of what we're doing. I guess a lot of more of the bonds, the budgeting. But I was like, I bought myself thousands of index cards because I was like, we're gonna take notes. My children are my teachers right now. I was like, you write, I answer. So it's really educating beyond more of the parent participation part, really learning, you know, what it is to take terminology, really move beyond what I've been just stuck in at home and participating at school. So I really need to push myself more than what I've currently done. Like I told my boss, I was like, I'm gonna cut down my hours right now because I need to move forward in a different area. Then I'll go back. But it's really, now I've become the student at my house. So it's a struggle, but it's something I've determined myself to succeed in. I've had so many people try to chicken me out, but I'm trying my best to push forward. I was like, the worst that can happen, I won't get elected, but currently, if I can push as a parent, then I'm here. I want to move on forward. I want to try to make a difference. Then that's more than beneficial for me, and that's what gets me, I guess, moving forward. When I hear some parents go for it, I'll support. Whether it be just there to support, just to hear go for it from the friends that I've gotten close-knit to, then I'm more there to move forward.
This is somewhat a follow-up to that question, but what would your response be to an individual that may say, or might try to persuade you not to run because they'll say, you know, you might need more experience or more exposure, you're not ready yet. What would your response be to those people?
I had that from my coworker, and all I could tell her was, you know what? She tried holding me back in the sense of saying, educate yourself now, run in 2 years. But all I could say was, you know what, my gut's calling me to do it now. If I wait 2 more years, I don't know what difference can happen in a negative way. So I was like, currently nothing has been moving forward. So my passion's calling me now. If I don't succeed, I don't succeed, but with the support I've had as parent-wise, I'm gonna continue to move forward. And like I said, the worst that can happen is I won't get elected, but my passion is saying it's time to move forward. My kids can't wait. I cannot let somebody else make a decision. Most of the people that are currently, I've heard are running, I've never really seen them actively involved. So I don't know what their intentions are yet. I haven't met all of them, but I'm hoping we can find somebody else that also, if I don't get elected, somebody else has the true intentions to make a difference in this district.
But what would be your your desired relationship with the teachers union, with the teachers individually? What's kind of your desired model for how the district relates to teachers?
I think as school boards, I don't know how many have relationship with the teachers or really hear them out. They have necessities, they do have a family once they get home. They're there giving our time to how many hours a day to our students. And sometimes some of them even go the extra hours to go to different recreation areas and provide other tutoring programs. It's how can we provide the support, or how can we find outside resources to provide more support to you? Because of the fact that our teachers are there, they're really feeling drained. We have parents that come in are hounding them down. Well, you did this, you did that, and we don't extend a helping hand and say, what could have we done differently to help? We criticize them, but we don't really understand what they're going through. Some teachers here are finding it difficult to come across the needs of students just based on, their behavior issue, their academic-wise. And parents are understanding the struggle, and that's the same way when we don't understand the needs of parents. How can you provide support as a parent? How can a teacher provide support for the mother or the father that's there? But as a district or school board staff, I don't think we ever sit down and listen to what the needs are. I know there's so many arguing about the negotiation of, wages and your salaries, but what other benefits can we provide? It's not just money-wise, it's not just benefits, but what other necessities or outside resources can we find to provide more of a welcoming community school?
I have a follow-up to something you said a little bit earlier, which was you talked about how segregated our district is. What, if you were on the school board, and this is obviously a huge issue, right? What do you think we should do to fix that problem?
Currently, I know this year, I think they had, I don't know if it was an African-American, I don't know what they set up. But it's funny because when our LCAP started, there was a mother there that was always asking, what services do you have just for African Americans? You provide so many services for, Latino students. And I came across this mother just a while back ago, and I was like, what services do they provide for us? I was like, not to argue against you, but she goes, you have all the ELD stuff. I was like, no, that's English language learner. So that's anybody that speaks another language outside of English. So I was like, and academic-wise, there's ALD, academic language development. So all the students that need academic-wise, there's a support. But we don't have one specific set, I guess, committee set for that. And then I know at the last LCAT meeting, they slipped a pamphlet, like saying, here, we provide these services. And some of those services are provided for all our students need. So the district has this way of saying, you know what, we do provide this for you only. But it's a lie. It's like, how do we get the parents to come up together? We provide this meeting for this group of parents, then we provide this group of meeting, but we don't outreach to have them all together. It's aside from the parent as partner conference, or I don't know what other thing they might host, but we don't really have a sit down together as, you know what, let's understand each other. What are your needs? At home, we cook the same foods. At home, we treat our children the same way. We want them to succeed, but we don't form partnerships. I don't see anything with the district trying to say, hey, let's sit down these group of parents together and really find out what they need. And I sat myself yesterday at a park. We took my kids. There was 2 African-American boys at the park, and my girls and my son just went and they started playing. They were making their own sand volcano. And I just sat and thought, the parents were there, and my husband and I were here, and we never once went ahead and spoke. So it was like, what difference would it have made if we really built this culture around everywhere we went? I was like, my kids are setting an example for me. I was like, I couldn't do anything, but it's just, I think community-wise, how we separate ourselves has been the difficult part to even open us to one another. We stereotype each culture, but we don't stop to say, hey, you know, what are your needs? Are they the same as mine? How can we work together?
Did you want to?
No, it's interesting.
Any last questions? Oh, we have Stephanie here with us.
I think I have one. It's like halfway formed. But I just think about the role of a board member having a lot to do with relationships. And you've spoken to the piece around parents, but I think about like relationships and building relationships, being a bridge builder or navigating communication with district staff. I think about the business community, civic leaders across different, city council and all the different city municipalities. Like, how do you envision like furthering relationships with all of those different constituencies?
I've thought of that, especially looking at how I like the model that Sao Paulo has currently with the full service community school, like really providing full service community school. And as a Richmond resident, we don't have that at our schools. We don't have services that where the city can unite with the schools to provide resources to our students. So it's been a struggle as to how do I think forward with that, but when I stop and think about, how many cities come across this district and how will you form, a difference of vision school-wise with the cities, with other stakeholders in the community. I don't know quite yet, how will we come across, just based on the vision. I don't know what the city leaders have, but my vision is to make a difference. And I know the struggle has been to keep what people say traditional neighborhood schools. All I want it to be is a full service community school, whether it be a charter or whether it be the district school, but how do we make it a full service community schools for the needs of the community? Because we need to provide the resources for the parents, the student, and teachers. We need to feel it welcoming. We were just at a national conference in Pittsburgh. As an employee, I didn't learn much. I was a little, I guess, I don't know, I didn't care too much. But as a parent, I was more than excited to put into effect different things. So I'm waiting for my principal to get back and email her. I don't want to email her yet. So I'm giving her 3 weeks off. But I had so many ideas of what to do that I was like, if I don't get elected, at least as a parent, I have like a list of 20 things. I was like, we got to find resources, but I want this happening in my school. And if we can't do it district-wide, if we can't set an example, it's like maybe this one school can make a difference.
Anything else from the group?
Sounds, Stephanie, like you have already so many slogans that you don't even know. I kept writing things down like our kids can't wait, true intentions make a difference, unity, let's sit together. And I hear so much division now. And so one, thank you for that. And two, do you think someone who cares about sitting together in unity and bridging, all these words that I hear in almost everything you say, do you think it's possible?
With the true intentions and with the right people that want to hear, I do think so. I don't think nothing's impossible. At least in my belief, you do the possible and somehow the impossible will happen. So it's really moving forward. I waited 5 years at my child's daughter without don't get me wrong, I did want to take her out, I did want to enroll at different schools, different charter schools, but when I saw it wasn't as what I thought it would be, I was like, no, let's stick through. So this 1 year made me realize that, yeah, it can make a difference. If you just learn to be patient and learn to push forward on what your stance is, then you can make a difference. And if I saw that happen in this school at Chavez this past year, then I'm more than willing to wait. And not wait, I can't wait. I'm more than willing to push myself to make sure the differences can happen.
Thank you.
Would you mind me asking, where's your daughter gonna go to middle school?
I believe the feeder school is Helms,
Okay.
if we don't move right.
I think we're done, so thank you so much for